few things you might see in the latest release. I will suggest that if everybody can do typically all these Fridays, we will ask you to refresh your browser. So to do so, we're gonna ask you to, if you're using a Mac, with Chrome typically is the default browser for Mac, you're gonna press F12, and in that way you can click with the right button. You can actually reset your browser cache, so you can hear empty cache and hard reload. That will get you into the latest release of Formas.ai. If you're using Windows, you just need to press F12, normal F12, and that will let you refresh the cache too. So when you press F12, you get access to this console, which is the dev console, which lets you access to the refresh cache. Okay, so that's something we typically do when we start the session, so you guys can refresh your browser and get access to the latest features that we just, as we speak, just pushed into our server. So when you go to Formas.ai, you're gonna access those ones. So on the top, there's one thing you have noticed is on top we have some announcements. So today we are actually having our office hours, but we have some announcements as well in the top bar. So from today will be off. You can just click this one off. And yeah, I mean, you just log in with your account. I'm gonna log in with mine. And let me just show you some of the new features that we got in Formas today. So when you log in Formas, you access now to the panel, and you will notice that we have this new feature here on the left. So on the left, you will see there's a Iterative Editor. So the Iterative Editor is a variation, it's a new version coded from scratch of our usual and beloved image editor. So that editor allows us to access to our images. You can import images from external sources, but you also can use images from anywhere. Remember, you're gonna fully empty cache here, so you can actually access to generations, and then you're gonna have access to the editor, and then once you got it, you're gonna access to the generations here. So you basically can use it the same way we have used it before, but there's a complete new interface here. The one thing you will notice is that very smooth. So it is responsive to your screen. It's gonna be very smooth. So the laptop or your computer, even the phone, will be quite good to move this. On the left side, you're gonna see the toolbar that is draggable, of course, and you have the iterations. So that's the new thing we have added here to our editor is the iterations. So for at the beginning, we have original, which is the first one we have. So you notice as well that we have a cropping area that we can access directly. That is very cool because that allows us to reframe the image, and that acts as an outpainting directly. You can outpaint directly by changing the frame right away. And then you can use make the image evening light. So in this way, we are outpainting, but also at the same time, we are changing the light conditions. So in this way, we can change aspect ratio, we can change the proportion of the image, and we can continue working. So you can click back on the original, and then what we can do, well, the image is here. So the image is generated, and is generated with a larger space. And then you can see that now we have more context, and the context has been expanded based on the region that we had. You can go back to the original image, and now what we can do is actually do more like a close-up. So we can actually reframe this one here. They're gonna do a close-up of this image showing ruffled texture of the wall. Details are rough. Add some people. So that is another iteration. So you will see now that in the iteration panel, on the left, you can rescale. It will always be attached to the toolbar. Now we have V2, and V2 is this one here. So we are generating a new version and it's aligned to the V1. So we are from the same root. We now are creating a new version of this one here. So now we are actually going closer into the raffle image. We're getting this one here. This is a version that we did adding people. So the context editor we're using here might make changes in the point of view. So you want to be true to the point of view exactly. What you can do is to just reframe the image and then prompt as add detail and keep the same point of view. And that would be the third iteration that we made here. The third iteration will create an upscale image of what we have there. So that is very useful because if maybe we like this one here, we go to V2. So now from V2, we can start modifying this. We can zoom in for sure. We can start making edits. We can go for a notes. So the notes are on the left, and the notes are very handy because you can start adding or removing elements here. For instance, in this case, I could probably start adding some elements in the context. Like I could put a note, and when you put a note and drag it, you can drag it out if it's like bothering you. You can take it out of the screen, and here you can put add buildings or old buildings nearby as context. Then here you can put, for instance, you can put another note, and you can put add more people, and then here you can add another note, which is maybe add some greenery on this area. You can start generating this one here. You test this one here, okay? So now we have an iteration from V3, that is V3.1, and these are notes that come from there. This is the version that we just made. This is the upscale version, right? So this version here comes from the root of the previous one, and this is the detailed version of this, right? So basically we can use it as an upscaler. The upscaler will help us create new versions from the images, all right? So that's kind of like a new upgrade from what we had before. But also we have another version here we can use as we generate this image here. I'm gonna get into that generation, and I will show you more about that.
Irena is saying that it's good that it keeps the iterations.
Yep. So here you can see, as always, we can check where the generation comes from. So you can see here the nodes. You see how now we're adding context, adding more people, adding greenery, and changing the context as suggested. So you can see here we can keep track of the iterations, and then we will also see the nodes that we had. So anytime we can actually access the nodes by clicking on this icon here. And I'm realizing that I'm not accessing the last version. So I'm gonna save this one. I'm gonna reload my browser. So I'm gonna do save. I'm gonna save this one as iteration office hours. And then I'm gonna reload my version here. I'm gonna use my iterations. So we can go for some of the iterations that we had here. These are iterations that we had before. Right, so this is the last one here. So we can recover the iterations. We can actually access to the nodes. The nodes are here. We can recover them. And on the panels, we can go to the previous generations that are here. And then in the panel on the side, we can access to the generation we just made, which means that we can go to the Freeform Studio and we can drop the images here. So it's relatively seamless. Yeah, it's relatively seamless here because you can drag them here, and then in the actions, you can edit the image.
Can you show how to retrieve the image with the notes, just in case people want their notes back?
Yeah. Drop the mouse next to a corner of the image. You're gonna see retrieve image with notes. So when you click on there, you're gonna be able to get the notes back, which means that you're getting basically the notes that you use when you actually were using that generation. All right, so that is very useful because if we go here, and then we say I'm gonna create maybe an image like this, and I'm gonna make, let's say, the kind of the brush that can basically allow you to remove content. So this is a good tool because it allows you to remove the content from the image, which means it's not going to be passed to the editor. And then when you create a note here, you can say maybe add glass with reflection here. right? So you can define this area to make the one with reflection. So you can just keep the image as it is, point of view, constant, then generate this one here. So that will highlight that area, and then we'll basically create our generation from that point of view. The editor allows you to continue working. So you can go to any other generation and continue editing. So that is our philosophy as well. Generations could take about 20, 30, 40 seconds. They're agentic right now. So that means that if we are working with the generations, we might need to work at another level. You can go to other parts of the workflow and then continue. So here we just added the glass. So the glass appeared to be like this with a reflection, like a mirror reflection, and really in the area that we selected. So it becomes way more precise. You are very specific of a particular kind of glass or particular kind of property of the material. It will add it in the region that you want. So I would definitely encourage you guys to try the editor because there's many features here new that you can use. The nodes are very powerful. The new ways of the polygon and the replace and the brush are quite good. And then with the brush, you can actually do and doodle things you can do. You can modify always the thickness of that. So you're able to add elements that could be, add, lamps here. And I try to do something a bit strange here, but then you can add the nodes that this is lamps, white, pendant. And then once you do that with shift, you can add the same node to a different node. So you can actually duplicate the node like to different parts. So you have now the same node applied to 4 elements. With shift, you can actually duplicate the node, and the node will be applied to the 4 points that we have. So nodes are, as you know, if you're using Freeform as your daily tool, is very powerful. So we want to bring the nodes almost to everywhere. And in the editor for us, I think is definitely a space that we wanted to use as well.
So Irena has a question.
Yep.
Can you blend 2 images in the iteration or somehow?
Yep, I think this is a very good question, and actually is one of the features that we will release as part of the editor. Now that we have iterations, the next step is going to be for us to be able to select which part you like of each iteration and to automatically create a new version from all the best parts of your generations. So that is on the pipeline, and we will be implementing that very, very soon.
Okay. And did you mention layers?
Layers are also on the way. I don't know if I can just show you the layers soon, but I mean, here, what we can see here is those kind of lamps that appear. So you can see how the translation of the lamps is basically where we pointed out, but they try to make sense. These kind of white lamps hanging from the top. And if you can see here where they come from, you see here the drawings, we see the spots, and they basically are quite precisely on the right spot. For the layers, it's also actually we tested in the previous editor, and now we're going to bring into the new one. So it's going to be auto layers. From any image, you're going to create many layers of what you see, and those layers will be automatically transferred to the editor.
So Jerry has a question. Does the yellow notepad need to be off the image? Or if it remains within the image, would that adversely affect the outcome?
The yellow node doesn't need to be within the image. It's just the dot of the image, the anchor point. That is the one we need to use, actually.
The anchor point, right?
Yeah, the anchor point alone. So that is a good way because we can actually take the nodes away. And when we take the nodes away, we're not blocking kind of the space.
But if it's inside, it doesn't render that node.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the yellow node is basically for us to understand, but the anchor point is the one the one that we need. And actually, I'm going to share my screen again. So I'm going to show you that in a very clear way. So if I share the screen, you'll see that if you go to the iterative editor, the editor, also the same here for the nodes. I mean, for the nodes everywhere, the constant here in Formas is that for any generation that you have, you can actually use nodes And the nodes, you can drag them away. But the thing that counts is this. So this one here, you can put it anywhere you want. You can put it far, you can put it small, you can put it like here and say this is going to be grass everywhere. And then you're gonna put here another node, it's gonna be, this is going to be wood everywhere. Just for fun.
They're really challenging.
I mean,
time, man.
yeah, of course, and then just generate this one here. So basically, the nodes that we have, there you can put them away, and that's fine. I mean, we know that in Freeform we can do that. So we just, in this case, we just try to prompt with the nodes. The nodes are very, very powerful, and especially in the Freeform editor, are super powerful to design. But here as well, we gave a lot of importance to what the nodes say, and then the transformation that we get is actually very deliberate. So we said it's gonna be grass everywhere, it's gonna be wood everywhere, and then it's gonna make sense of both nodes across the image, keeping the rest of the elements constant. So so that is a very powerful transformation. So nodes are really, really powerful.
Luis Valda asked, is this workflow better on iPad or recommended Mac PC?
It's the same. There's no difference in the output. The only thing is that to the iPad, we are paying attention as well, but we're prioritizing the desktop computers. iPad now is in the second tier, and then third is phone, but we are actually looking at 3 interfaces to work together. iPad is working quite well if you use the stylus. If you use the pen, it's a very powerful interface. The output is going to be the same. So you're able to put the same elements somehow in the iPad, it will be the same output. So don't worry about that. The quality of the generations is the same across platforms.
Okay, should we now move back to
Yeah.
Freeform?
So yeah, I mean, just to wrap up, I mean, the idea of the outpainting is quite good in a way that if you create outpainting like generations, you can always as well add a note here on the left and say here, I want to see the C on this part. And then you can try outpainting with a note that tells the context that you want to see. Keep the image as it is, expanding the context. So this is gonna try to expand the context with a note that tells you what you want to see. So you can try experimenting with the outpainting with the notes, you can experiment with the brush and the notes. So the combination is really good. And now as a technical note, we are making this generation agentic, which means that we have not just one Go prompt. Typically, most of the apps, they just do one A, B, done. In our case, what we do is we do A, and then we check that A works. And then we do B. So the agent will, now we have eyes, we can understand the generation, and then according to that, we react for the second step or the third step. So it's agentic internally. So we are bringing that in the core of Formas, and the editor has been a good space for us to experiment with the agentic behaviors. Good results, really good results, and hope to see from you guys very good applied cases of the editor.
Michael asked, how can you change the perspective?
Okay, that's a very good
question.
That's a very good question, and then that leads us to the module that is called multi-angle viewport. So when we go here, we're going to access this interface. This interface allows us to create images in 2 ways. So in this way, and let me just go for my localhost version, because here I can show a bit more of what's happening. I'm gonna show you the sorry, I'm gonna go back to the multi-angle viewport. So very soon, when I push the final version, you get all access to this one here. So when you generate, you have access to 2 ways of generations. The one is the target camera. The second one is called angle control. So angle control is the most consistent one, which means that if you want consistency, you don't want any hallucination of what you see here, you're gonna go for angle control. Angle control has 2 angles to control. The first one is the horizontal angle. So you decide if you want to see the image from the left or from the right. 360 degrees for that. You can go here. Maybe you want to see from the front, that opening. You're going to go here like about 45 degrees. I'm not going to touch the vertical angle, or you want to go a bit lower, should be fine. And then we can generate that angle. So that starts generating one of the geometries. I'm going to just generate this one here. And then you can, at the same time, choose a different point of view, maybe from below or from the top. I can add an angle here. So you will have two generations queued. They are not running simultaneously, so you basically are doing one by one, but you can queue them. At the moment, we don't want to overload this model, so we are working one by one. But the thing is, it's fast, so you don't need to wait that much. The generation that we have here is basically a interpretation of the geometry that we had in the first slide, and it tries to make sense from the image that we had and make sense of that point of view from different perspective. So that is our kind of generations that you're trying to basically interpret the angles based on the camera view. That will give you the most consistent model that is actually available right now. If you go for the target camera, it's a different thing. It's an interpretation of the view. And in this model, we have developed new technology to interpret 3 layers of the image, because in this case, we only have one image and what you say about the image. So if you place the camera here, you look at the sea, right? You're gonna open the lens, and actually you can go maybe to the night mode to see maybe a bit more of this. And then you're gonna create the image from here. You're gonna describe what you see. View POV from a person looking at the sea from the wooden platform. No need to describe everything, just put like that. And then generate the view. So now when we generate the view is basically interpreting what we have in our space, and it will break it down in a number of operations. Again, agentic operations is going to look at the image, it's going to break it down into parts, it's going to compose a new frame. And in that process, there's many operations. We let our agent run kind of like free. So there's a chance that the generation, it doesn't land exactly as we expect, but we try to train it as close to the user intent as possible. All right. So yeah.
Malvina has a question. Do you have any tip on how to improve the quality of an image without losing elements and without generating new details?
Well, I think that's a good but quite open question there. I mean, the generation, I mean, the kind of like how to improve the quality of the image could be something. It's relative, because you can go to the image here and then you can go for just a simple upscaler, right? So yes, you can go
You
for
can take the one that is blurred,
that.
the generated one, the one above.
You mean
Yeah, maybe this one.
this one?
Yeah.
So there are different ways to generate images here. So when you generate image with, to upscale images, you're gonna go with the upscaler. The upscaler has different options. So typically when you go for upscaler, you're just gonna go for maybe the upscaler 2x. You don't need to go for more than that. And there are two options here. The one typically I recommend to go is the precise option, because it gives you a sharp interpretation of the image. So you can go for an upscale image directly, and then they will give you a 2x generation. But if you want to go as well for another generation, you can go for upscale again, and then you can try the creative one, and then you try to go the medium resemblance. So that will change the game. So we'll make it a bit more open. So here, what you can see is that when you look at the details of the slab and the elements here, you will see sharper textures. So it actually goes really well when you're looking at a final image. It will refine, it will give you that extra textures that maybe you want to. The other one is basically an upscaler that tries to create other like elements, and maybe you will see some textures that maybe are not there. So it's relatively fast, the upscaler, they give you resolution, but if you want to really increase the quality of the image, I would say I would so just go take the image, directly click and go to the editor, and then in our iterative editor you can select the area that you want, something like this, and describe the quality of the elements you want to bring here. Like let's say add texture to the wood, and increase detail to the natural elements. And then you just generate a view of the zoom of that part. That will be a way to start creating like more details for that.
Irena asked, can you also show the change of viewpoint under iterative editor, which is here? Do we have the change viewpoint here?
Not at the moment. We don't have a way to call the angle point of view here to iterate. But as I said, I mean, those things are on the way. So for instance, now you go to the multi-angle viewpoint. It's a module that it has its own autonomy, but don't have, we cannot store the iterations yet. So we are on the way to integrate the modules in a way that they're going to be seamless. So Arena, I think we are working on Freeform Editor, also narratives as well. We want also the frames to go to narratives very quickly, and then the seamless transition can happen. Now, at the moment, if you want to do these kind of things, you just need to get the image from the editor. You just take it here, and then when you get it here, you can start modifying that image. As we said, just put the camera wherever you need, just look at wherever you need, and then generate the view from below. Then you generate a new image, and that image you can take it back to the editor in case you want to iterate from there. So maybe it's not fully 100% integrated, but we are on the way to make it fluid.
Yeah. There's a question from Ava about how is the 3D Studio working? How does it work?
Well, that's a good question, but it's a deep question, I would say, because it works. I mean, maybe some users, I see like some power users are working on the 3D Studio, and the 3D Studio is actually a powerful model in a way that allows you to create. I used to create, maybe just take this one here, to create images and basically a space from any 3D model that you might want to import. So in this case, we're using a 3D model that we imported from Rhino. And then when you have this 3D model, you can actually access any point of view you can generate, and you can make images of that point of view exactly where you are in the camera. So it works in a way that you can use two different modes to modify the point of view, either the WASD, which is basically like Minecraft moving, like a WASD, or you work with the orbit mode. Orbit mode, you can pan around, so you can go anywhere you want. If you double click on the model, you can add a node. You can say here, concrete wall, for instance. And also with the right click on the model, you can access to a model, which is add node or go there. So you can actually get there, get closer to the space that you are. All right. So that is a good mode because it allows you to start moving, maybe close to the space you want to get, or even get inside the building. So that will help you start creating images from the inside of the building. So this is an interface that allows you to position the camera. And one of the things you actually will notice, we have a 2-point perspective camera, which is the professional camera that we should use in architecture. We can modify the lens length. We can modify basically the intensity of the light, the direction of the light, because the light can help you understand, or can help our model understand the volumes of the space inside. And then when you're here, you can add nodes. You can put here like a concrete reflective floor. You can put here a person wearing white. So you can put here, this could be like grass, landscape. And here you can put here a red concrete wall. You can just define the space with elements here. I'm gonna put here like a little
Malambot yung glass. It's
Hi, Elijah.
Sorry, I think we have like
Lami.
sorry. Yeah, can we? Yeah, I think we need to move you. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. So then we can generate. Well, you generate, there are two modes of generation. You can generate like a interior view of villa space with raw materials. So you can generate using our precise mode, which is the one I'm using here. And immediately you can move to a next point of view. You can move here, and you can take another generation. I'm gonna make a different model. I'm gonna use the contextual generation. You can see 2 generations of that one. So now we have 2 generations ongoing. You can take as many as you want from that 3D model. The nice thing is that we can save those generations. You can actually put the camera where you want to. You can save the generations later on the side. One image we just made. The other image we're gonna get inside. So this image also we made. I'm gonna make the model wider so you can see the space from that point of view, and you can see the other view that we had here. So you can see the space inside. So this the views that we had, and then we can access the generations directly, and you can see the output of this. So you can see the generation, the spaces. So it's quite coherent with what we have. The people, the elements that we had, the reflective elements, the concrete slabs, and the red walls are here. So it depends on our input. You can get from a 3D model something very, very fast and something that can generate a tour through the space. So so that could be kind of one way you can do for your renderings. From very simple 3D models, you can create complex images.
So William has a question. Does the 3D Studio accept embedded PBR features, textures?
Yep.
On the model on import, or do they need to be simple colors?
No.
Sorry, they have a further question.
Okay.
I have been unable to get textures to populate
Mm.
in the 3D Studio using a various array of file formats.
Actually, if you save it in Rhino 3DM, it's native. The textures are native. So you can get into the textures, but we will look into the generations. For instance, you can see here these images inside we did with the 3D model with the interior space. So whenever you see kind of these textures here, they are not made with the original texture. I'm gonna show you here the model, so you will see the actual model. I'm gonna show how the model looks like. So there's no texture here, but you can import textures with a model in Rhino. Okay, this actually at the moment we don't have the model with textures, but try using the 3DM from Rhino. That will take it. I would suggest also OBJ should also get the textures, but I will look into the way that we can convey the textures, because actually with textures, the quality of the output is very good.
Yeah, so Carlos have a similar question. How do you get to the 3D model itself? Do you make it from other software, import into Formas?
Yeah.
And what's the format?
Yeah, so when you open 3D Studio, you can go directly to the 3D Studio open, and then here you will see the formats that are available at the moment. So we're increasing the number of them. We took kind of the open source like OBJ, 3ds, the 3D Studio, GLB for point clouds, GLTF, STL, 3DM for Rhino, FBX, and PLY. Those are very popular, and even if you're using SketchUp, you can export in any of these formats too. We want to incorporate SketchUp as well as native format here. We just need to expand our library. I think with this already we got a number of formats, but we will keep increasing. At the moment, we are not generating 3D models within Formas. We need to import them from outside. Our intention is to move from 2D to 3D in a natural AI way. So I don't think in February we have that, but probably in March we're gonna start implementing more 3D capabilities.
Irena has a question. Probably the answer is maybe not right now. Is the sun direction able to be realistic with the actual sun orientation of the project with the smiling face?
It's just a request that actually we haven't done, but that's really easy for us to implement. So we take the suggestion. So the lighting here is gonna actually react to the actual location. At the moment we don't have it, but it's very easy. So we will implement it, Irina.
Wanted to see if the flip horizontal and the flip vertical mirroring in Freeform was possible.
Well, I mean, probably after refreshing the browser, you right-click on the element you want to. You're gonna go for transformations. Flip horizontal and flip vertical are now available. So that's a very simple thing, but it's available to all right now. So simple capabilities are here. So of course, that builds up also on the opacity and many other features that that you will see, guys. Like moving to the Freeform editor, you will see that when you click on an image that of any kind, you can duplicate with a shift or using the copy image, and then you can turn any image into a node. With the right click, you can go here, and then you can go for let me see, image actions, use as node here, use as node. So then you will have the image as a node. So the right click button is going to help us as well to create like all these different operations. The node, as you know, it will help us working as a reference in an image.
All right. There's many questions about as well, just our favorite feature in Freeform. Can you take a step back, show us how you can start drawing, turn a sketch into an image, and then let's go through Freeform.
Okay. So, well, sketch to image. I mean, that's a very, very, of course, a signature feature from Formas tutorials we have made. You will notice now that whenever you load a Freeform board, it's going to load faster in a way that we made it really incremental. We notice that users are actually using a lot of images. The boards are getting really popular. So we have taken, basically the decision to make them more like sleek, and now they load way faster. Okay, so now they will reduce the size like 90%. So from a sketch, I mean, you can go for this one here. It's an example. I mean, in this case, the sketch that we did is like this simple sketch. To make a sketch in Formas is relatively easy. You're gonna go here for the brush, and then you're gonna create any geometry you wanna do, something like this in this case, and then we're gonna actually try maybe convey a certain level of three-dimensionality, if you may. So the more you give, of course, the more AI can take. If you want to go for, let's say, something that goes like this, and then, I don't know, at this point, I'm going to create certain kind of level of column here, right? It's going to try to do something like this. Project that stands here. You can take advantage of the infinite level of zoom. So that helps you create certain level of resolution to the sketch that will help guide the intent of the surfaces you are making. So if you are defining a bit of the geometry a bit with more precision, you will try guide better the output of the geometry, right? So that's important. So you make something like here, and something like here, and then that's the way we work in Freeform. So you also have people. People are also very important in a way that conveys scale. So when you have people, you can drag the scale and you can put them smaller. You will notice that we have now guides. The guides are useful, and by the way, is a new feature to make something like, in any like Word, PowerPoint, start to be sticky to relative geometry. So it becomes easy to create geometry that could be aligned to elements that you have, to the midpoint, to other elements. We are constantly refining this feature. It's just new, but it really works quite well when you're working with certain like rules of orthogonal or elements that you want to really have some accuracy. So if you want to maybe make it a bit more accurate, you can go for lines here. The lines are tools that allow you to have elements in a more precise way. You also have polylines here. So you're gonna click on elements. You change the size of a polyline halfway, you will create polylines with different thicknesses, which is maybe useful for some of you guys. Just a quick tip, okay? And then also, if you're creating polylines or lines, there's one option that actually, when you double click, you will close the polyline. But if you stop halfway, you have the polyline open with the right button, or here in the smooth, you can create smooth polylines. The smooth polylines is very, very good. It will create very nice smooth lines that you can use to refine your geometry. It does also work with brush. Brush is a tool that helps you create any shape and refine it with the smoothness. So the smoothness will give you not just the typical smoothness. It's like straight curves, straight curves, straight curves. It's a very, very elegant resolution. Also, you want to highlight elements of your sketch, you can use the bucket. You can actually fill elements of the of the geometry to guide that this might be the solid part. Okay, so that is very important because you can actually highlight elements with the color that you want to. Just select the color that you want. You go for maybe something like this, and then you're gonna see these elements shaded in the color that you have. Okay, make sure that the entities are close.
We only have 9 minutes
Yeah.
now. Can you quickly
Okay.
show us generation?
Yeah,
This sketch?
sure.
And then
Yeah.
Carlos has a question on, can you, I saw you can get technical drawings from an image.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you do that also?
Yeah, we'll do simultaneously. So I'm gonna make this view here. So I show you a bit of the different models that we have to generate. So the first model and the most fundamental model I recommend you to try when you have a sketch like that is go for the non-agentic good 1K, and then just do a very simple front view of a loop building on a slope, white material, ruffled geometry on top of in vertical V-shaped column. So this is a very well, I put it like with typos. It's okay, we have an LLM behind, okay? So don't worry about the typos. So it will create a relatively fast view of that sketch. So what I recommend as well is like you can actually generate another one at the same time. You can go for, let's say, agent, you go for height 2K. So you can generate again the same view. You're gonna start working with the agent mode at the same time. The images will be appearing here, so don't worry, you won't lose them here. So the first one is this one. It created something like this. It's a first sketch, but it could be a first translation of the geometry in a relatively raw state. We put raw geometry, very rough, so it's fine. You can get a first iteration, and we can put it here. The next one will be more refined. We're gonna look at a more refined version. And then the third one, I'm gonna use the context image. The context model is gonna prioritize the nodes. Okay, the geometry will be there, but the nodes are crucial here for the generation. I'm gonna create, and the context mode appears with orange color. All right, so you will see the context always with the orange color, and the toolbars will below will be orange color. So if you take maybe this generation we had here before, you're gonna take a technical drawing. You're gonna just click on the generate drawings on the toolbar below, and from here you're gonna go for technical detail, or you're gonna go for I don't know, the elevation. You're gonna create the elevation directly. This is the one that we just made with the agent. So the agent start to create a bit more deliberate generation, and you will see later the context. All right. So we are creating now a drawing from that. We can also go for, let's say, a image like this, generate drawing. I'm gonna generate a section axon. Okay, this is kind of the generation of that drawing. We're getting a bit of the generation of the technical drawing. These drawings are still in bitmap, all right? So don't expect to have them already like ready to be AutoCAD ready, but we are also working on a vectorizer to get them ready. And this is the context model. As you can see here, probably is the one that is trying to make more sense of your nodes and the structure. Gets quite well. Even they put kind of these vertical elements can be very easy to remove, but the quality of the context model typically works very well for most of the cases, all right? So you can see here coherence and proportion of the elements.
So you wanted to show everyone, especially the pro users who have been applying the styles over and over again. So you wanted to show that context window, right?
Yeah, there's a new thing that we are developing at the moment, and it's a quite exciting one. So the one thing that we are doing is that let's say we have this 2 generations we just made about this project. So the idea is that we can create regions that we can designate as context. So in the right button, you're gonna create any shape, transform this into context. So now this region is a context, it's context on. So whatever you draw here, okay, you're gonna make this kind of very simple shape here. You're gonna put it like a front view museum like this. I'm gonna put just a simple precise element without agents, like a high quality, and generate here. So I'm just putting kind of this element here. I'm gonna generate the view, and that indicates that the context is on. So it means that we are generating with the context created by the images you have made before. So the context that we have, you can access here with the right button. You will see that the context is telling you a number of elements here, like a view the context is like basically elements that are captured from your generations. So that is going to be used to generate the images. So you don't need to put everything again. You're going to just put this line, put a museum, and then everything else from the context is going to be generated. So the prompts and generation are going to get better and better. If you keep generating the same space, the next one is going to be updated with the next generation. So it's going to increase the quality as we generate.
So the benefit of that is that you don't have to keep applying style, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. So the style is generated by your own generations. So if you take an image out of the context, it's not going to be taking part of the next context generation. So whatever is inside the region is your context for this particular area. So the boards, you're going to start creating areas of context. You say this one, you're working in a particular exploration, and then anything that happens there is going to work on that domain. So for us, it's very important, and we are working very actively on that to make the boards really AI native with context. And as we make them collaborative, we're going to make them open real time to everyone. Everyone will be able to create on that particular context.
Okay, we don't have much time left, but we'll extend as long as our, all of you can extend as well.
Yes.
We spent the last part really talking about interior.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some questions on, is it possible to show how you populate a floor plan with finishes and furniture?
Okay, so so we're gonna go to the floor plan. So okay, we have floor plan here. So the one thing you can do is to maybe to take the region that you want to render and say, well, I'm gonna get kind of potentially this bedroom here or maybe the living room. So you're going to you can cut it if you want to. So you're gonna isolate the context. You can go here for the cutting tool. You can basically cut it, and then you're gonna take it here. So you can from any image you can actually cut it, and it's actually quite cool. As we can create from here, I'm gonna generate here a region. So the region to generate, I'm gonna work on a prompt that's gonna be show this floor plan in a realistic view using modern furniture. And then basically what you want to do here is to transform this floor plan into some sort of like a top view, right? Let's say wooden floor. You can describe wooden floor, rattan carpet, nice natural light, top view, enter. So with that, we're gonna generate a vision, a view. You can see here the transformation of the space, right? So the one thing we have done is to transform the interior space into a real space. So it makes sense of that space. So don't try, I mean, you can do it with the entire floor plan, but if you want to make an image of the interior, my recommendation is always to isolate the context. So it will make a really much better job creating an image for that space than for the entire floor plan, okay? So once you have it, you can go for the change viewport. There are two ways, as you say, as we said before, we can start like changing the point of view, like modifying the precise angle, but you can put a view from here, look at that point, and I say view from the door towards the window of the bedroom, showing the bed and all details of the room. You can generate this one here. And then in the angle control and the target camera in the new version, you will see that we can actually access to the aspect ratio that will be pushed in a while when we finish the session. We'll just recap and push the latest updates. So there was Arena suggestion. So you will actually access to the generation with aspect ratio. So that is one way that we can actually generate images, and that allows us to get a more consistent point of view regarding to the configuration of that space. So once we have it, we're gonna move to the instant narrative module. So the instant narrative module, we're gonna go here. We're gonna save the original floor plan, and then in the narrative modules is where we make all these videos. I'm gonna create a new one. This is gonna save it, auditorium. So the narrative module, we can create a new one. And then in the module, we're gonna drop the floor plan here. And the next one is gonna be the image of the bedroom from the top. And then we can use a model to transform from the floor plan to the texture. In this case, I'm going to use one. It's the cheapest model and actually could be effective enough for this task. Add texture to the floor plan smoothly. We have an LLM that will understand the two frames at your intent. So it will create a video here for both. And the next one is going to be to go for the interior space here. So this is the view that we got for interior space. And then from here, what we want to do is to generate the video. And then from the video, we're going to say, like, we're going to use Kling. I'm going to say, generate a smooth transition from floor plan to interior space. Gradually move the camera.
Can you also show style transfers?
Yeah, your style transfer is here in Freeform. So a style transfer, if you wanna basically see.
Can you pick one of these first?
Yeah, I mean, for a style transfer, for this, I'm gonna show example here, very simple, but maybe you can illustrate what we're doing. In a style transfer, what we did here is to generate a number of images. So this image here, it has a use this as style for all. And then we put that note here, and then the entire image has been transferred with that style. So that's very straightforward. So it means that if you put this note use this as a style for just this wall, the style will be transferred to just that wall. Okay, the notes are powerful in that sense. So you will create a generation that it lands where you want to. So if you want to apply that image, that style, maybe, I don't know, the floor plan as well, you can actually go to the generation here. I'm gonna rotate the image 90 degrees. I'm gonna take the same style that I'm using here, the same node, and I'm gonna drag this to the generation here. And then I'm gonna generate this one. So I'm gonna use like get this one, and then generate the view in the style provided. So I'm gonna use 1K to go faster and generate the view. So here you can see some of the frames. You can see AI is gonna try, connect. This is, as I said, the basic model. So it's different models here. And if you want to redo the same video, you can do regenerate. You can go for Kling and then go for the better version. So that means you will have two versions to choose for that particular frame. So now we have versions as well within Iterative. You will see versions here on top.
Irene, I've
Yep.
taken down your notes on schematic.
Yep.
So I think maybe, Carlos, if you can just demonstrate for this interior, on maybe perhaps actual style transfer that you would do, turn that into notes.
Okay.
A lot of new users here.
Uh-huh.
How to turn things into notes.
I mean, for instance, you can see here the video we just made in Kling, so you can see the consistency from the floor plan to the video. So it's gonna try continuously, like, move the camera to see the consistency between one and the other. So that is basically one of the things that we have in Kling, that we kind of, with the prompt that we use and the transfer that we have, it creates a very, very smooth transition between frames. And so then we can do here is like this. You have an image here. You're gonna maybe take this generation. So if you want to take styles, you can go maybe for I don't know, an image of like, how will be the style? Minimalistic white style. I try to go for something white. So you're gonna go here for that image. You're gonna copy the image, and then you're gonna go for formats. You're gonna put the image here. Copy and paste work directly. So you can copy the image and you will have it here. Once you have an image, you have two options. One, use this as style directly. So you just get the node, and then the node can be dropped directly into the style. The other one, if you want not to transfer that much of the properties of the space, you can create a mood board. So the mood board is the LLM that we have, and our model is gonna start creating a grid of 9 selected point of views and moments, zoom ins. So we're gonna create a mood board that we will be able to use in the generation. So the difference between using direct style or mood board is that the mood board is more, that the geometry is not so strong when we use it. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to show difference. I'm going to say apply this style to the image. This is basically the one that Kling made. So it's basically doing a very consistent way to transform this drawing into the floor plan. Kling will nail it. It's a bit more expensive, but typically Kling nails it. The quality is very good. So when you go to the multi-angle view, so sorry, to the narratives here, you're gonna be able to use Kling. You're gonna be able to use the other one, and you can generate the narrative in a combined way. Going back to Freeform, I'm applying this. So I'm gonna select this point of view, and I'm gonna say apply the white minimalistic style, and then I'm gonna use context mode and generate the image. On the right hand side, what you see here is the mood board. So the mood board is extracting from an image 9 details: carpet, the TV, the curtains. So it also is an image that could be ready for, like, you know, to present to a client as an image, but also you can create a note, okay, and that becomes your style. So it's less strong geometrically. All right, so you can use this one here. You can put into the notes. You can select the frame for this one here. You can apply the style. And the third one you can do is to, wow, I like this couch, right? So I like this couch kind of thing. You're gonna use the lasso element that you want to use. Say this one here, just cut it, and you got it. So this is your couch. Then you can turn into a note. So that becomes your asset. And this couch, you can use it. I mean, you can use it in the generation that you want to, right? You can start using it in different generations. So for instance, this one here, we're gonna put it, this one, we're gonna put it here. Since we have now the image with the style, we have changed the style of the room to something really white and quite nice, as you can see here. Then you might want to maybe add this couch. So I'm gonna use this node. I'm gonna put the couch here, and maybe I'm gonna just use kind of the shape like here. Could be maybe you can do a polygon to try to indicate where the couch could be, maybe something like this. And then in the notes, you can try to be specific, like add this couch here. And then when we generate the image, and I select this region, then we can add the couch to the image. Then the style is already applied, so we don't need the style anymore, and just generate. So that could be one way that we can introduce elements, references, and styles. As you can see here, working with this, the mood board is very effective. It gives you actually a very nice image that you can share.
So this is the last demonstration. We are 14 minutes past. So just answering some last questions here, and then we can chat again in 2 weeks. Of course, Discord channel is open. So Irena asks, can we get the mood board to be overlapping textures and materials, like in Midjourney mood board creation, so there is no boxes? And can we also customize from seed? Can we also customize the number of images in the group? For example, can we have 11 images?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, and it's a decision that we made when we started working with this fast generation drawings. I mean, as you can see, there's a limitation on the options that you have here when you make the mood board, right? When you create an image from here, then you generate drawings. So this is actually relatively limited. So there's not much customization you can do. And that's intentional for now. I mean, meaning that at the moment, we are looking at very simple workflows. For instance, from this image, for instance, you can take this furniture and you can put it here, and you just need to click to get maybe the, I don't know, the technical drawing. Okay, just like this. So the quick action are going to change, and then we're going to have workflows that are going to be configured by us, but you will be able to configure yourself as well. Those are going to be really powerful. Then you can configure all the different elements and the different features that you want to do, and those are going to be done from our team, but also you will be also in charge to make them. So for this one here, it's quite handy because you can get from an image directly, you can get the kind of almost production ready drawings for this couch. So geometry wise, proportion wise, layer wise, it makes a lot of sense. So we don't let much customization for now, but imagine you're gonna make a model from here. You can actually create a model, and what we do is that the LLM, our model and the LLM work together to decide in which material and which point of view is gonna make this model. So it selects the best material for this object, the best point of view, and it does it. Yeah, the couch is here, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, up here in the right position, right? So it is here. And by the way, I mean, we can do these kind of things. This is a region of the image, so we are only transforming that image. So as a tip here, you can add a node and you can add a shape to the node. Both are working very well. So you can try like giving the scale of that object when you put it there.
Okay, last question from Irena. Be a library of mood boards too.
And you will be able to manage that. So the mood boards will be included as part of that.
Yeah, please give us some time. Our wish list, our roadmap is really thick.
It's really thick.
We're gonna try to prioritize.
You can see here, I mean, this sketch, okay? I'm showing this example because we are actually improving even more the context model and the agent model. Now our context model, what it does is not just transfer the style that we got from the mood board. You can see here a perfect translation of the marble, the elements, and the textures here, but also we're getting a more like detailed interpretation of the space, and we get sketches as well as an outcome of this. You can use these sketches as a better sketch than the one you do. So you're gonna have those kind of freebies that will appear in the generation that we use. Actually, the LLM is doing it, and actually that's a good way to also to share with the client. You have this kind of drawing here, so instead of having this one, you're having something a bit more developed.
Yep. So we have come to the end of our third office hours, and if you like, feel free to unmute yourself. Maybe can thank Carlos for not sleeping and launching so many features.
Do you sleep, Carlos?
No, I can't. I can't sleep. It's not with so many things we now do. Is like it's impossible. But we try. We try to keep the balance. It's important because we think Formas of a very long-term platform for us. I mean, we react very quick, but we want to make it definitely sustainable for everyone. So we need to keep ourselves healthy.
All right. Anyone else wanna say hi, say good night?
Sure. Thank you so much, Yiping and Carlos, for having office hours. This is really great and really helps us push forward with continuing to develop our thinking on your format. Formas is great.
Thank you so much. I mean, and definitely appreciate that you took the time as well to take to assist to the session, and definitely to give feedback and any comment from your side. Definitely we take it. So thank you so much, Walter.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Michael. Bye.